Welcome to Colonie TV, the governmental educational channel for the town of Colonie. Hello and welcome to the Senior Resources Show. I'm Richard Naylor. Today we're turning the camera on Chris Cary, who's your usual host. We want to talk about the Senior Services Center itself and their programs, and we figured this would be a better way to do it than to have her asking herself questions. So, Chris, here we go.
Here we go.
You're kind of still sitting in the host chair, but...
Yeah, this is different. I'm usually asking the questions. Today I'm answering the questions.
There we go. So I'm always interested in a mission. So could we start with that?
Sure.
It seems basic in some ways, but it's always good to tell people why you're there.
Right. Well, we've been providing these services in the town since 1979 when the department was founded. And the mission is to provide seniors who live in the town, our senior residents, and their caregivers, and many of the caregivers aren't local, with the services and programs that they need so that they can continue to be part of the Colonie community. By providing folks with what they need, they are able to maintain independence, continue to give back to the community, that they are really the founders of this community. Many of the people that we help were here when the town was, when they tell me that Wolf Road was all farmland. So
right.
I hear stories from the past of how the town started, and they are the backbone of the community. And
1960, there was a country club where Colonie Center is.
Is that correct?
Right.
Wow, wow. So we want to keep folks that built this community in the community, and that's pretty much our mission, to provide the services and the support so that people can age well in place.
Well, that is quite a job because we all go through this, and I don't know if there's too many people, unless they're very, very young, who haven't dealt with at least thinking about what are we going to do when mother or dad can't drive anymore, have trouble with their medication, can't handle the lawnmower even or something.
Exactly. And there's 21,000 senior citizens in the town of Colonie based on the 2010 census data. And of course not all those folks need our help, but we want to make the services available, and awareness and knowing how to access, whether you need them now or in the future, is really critical to what we do. And of course the baby boomer generation is in their 60s now, or approaching 60 if not over 60, and they're many times caring for their aging parents as well. So it's twofold. If they can help their folks and start to think about their long-term needs and what they need to do so that they can remain independent and living in the community as long as possible, then it's a double win for us.
So you've got your plate full.
Absolutely, we do.
So let's talk about the individual parts of that plate. Let's go through some of the range of services that you provide.
Okay. Well, the cornerstone of our department from the inception in 1979 was to provide information, assistance, and referral to appropriate agencies for seniors so that they can stay in their homes and get the support that they need. Community-based services such as transportation, daycare services, home-delivered meals, companion services, information on services that can come into their homes, such as laundry services, housekeeping services. We even have hairdressers that go to people's homes if that's what somebody needs. So, and also we provide information on alternative housing. For instance, assisted living, if a person should at some point need a nursing home. We look at ourselves as that place to start for information and assistance for both seniors and their caregivers, so that if they just pick up the phone and call us, if we can't answer their questions and help them directly, we can at least steer them in that direction. So that's the first and probably the most important component of what we do, and oftentimes that serves the needs of the caller. In addition to that, we do case assistance and transitional case management. And what I mean by that is many seniors are living in the community and possibly their income has shrunk because possibly their loved one has passed away, their spouse, or they're finding that the cost of living is making it that much harder for them to.
And I think many people's income didn't start out with such a huge cushion, right? When they
Absolutely.
when they stop working, that
Right.
they can project 10, 20, 30 years into the future.
Folks are living a lot longer, and the nest egg that they set up for themselves hasn't really been enough. A lot of the seniors that we helped raised big families, put children through college, and don't have the nest egg that maybe younger seniors might have been able to save for today. So what we try to do is link seniors in a very confidential and private manner with benefit programs, entitlement programs that might stretch their monthly income a little bit. Programs like the Home Energy Assistance Program that gets folks help with their heating bills. Medicare assistance with their health care needs and their drug costs. There's a lot of programs that can help with that. All different types of entitlements, nutrition programs. If people eat well, they're going to spend less on health care dollars, and they're going to, reduce the risk of falls and stay safer in their home. So we work with a lot of different programs to help people kind of put together a care plan, and that's done through our social worker or casework department in our office. And we have 2 caseworkers, Debbie and Angelina, that work very closely with seniors. And again, it is in a confidential manner, and that's very important because, it's very difficult for people to ask for help when they're used to being the ones that help others.
Right.
So, we reach out. Many of the people that we help in our case assistance department started as a basic call. My mom needs, help getting her groceries, or my mother's having a hard time paying for prescription drugs, or I'm having a hard time paying for my prescription drugs. And we look at everything that's available to them and try to make those linkages. And not only do we make the linkages, but we'll help the people to apply. And that's very important, to have access, to be able to apply, and then that follow-up to make sure that you are getting the reductions on your drug cost or whatever it is that we were able to help you with.
I think you could probably go on for 15 or 20 minutes just going through the services.
Right.
And some of them, I think, you might want to know more about technically, like transportation. They've heard of vans, or they've seen a van,
Right.
and they wonder, well, how do I use it? Other ones, I'm not even sure they understand what it means.
Right.
For example, you mentioned a companionship program. Is it a dog, a person?
It's a non-medical companion. There's a lot of non-medical home care companion agencies out there. They're really kind of propping up pretty significantly lately because folks need a little bit more help to be able to stay in their home, whether it's somebody to come in and do meal preparation or grocery shopping for them, or to remind them to take their medications, little things like that, where folks can hire a companion. Many times the companions are seniors themselves, young retirees, or individuals that just want to earn a little extra income. And a companion can come out 1 day a week or 7 days a week, 2 or 3 hours, whatever your needs are. Seniors have to pay for these services today. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of volunteer companions.
I think a question
out there.
everybody would have on that is, how do you screen those people? Because there's somebody coming in, my husband is maybe got a broken hip, can't move or whatever, and I just want to make sure that this person is honest. They're not going to pick up a wallet or...
Right. Well, that's why, as a town department, we only refer to reputable agencies that are bonded and insured, and that check the references and do background screens on their employees. Nothing is 100% safeguard for the consumer. I had a situation 2 years ago where I was caregiver for a family member that was living in my home, and I was sitting in that seat for a while, and I understood clearly the reluctancy that folks have to have a stranger or an agency come into their home. But I did it, and I trusted that the agency was going to send out good folks, and that's all you can really do. That's why we do not give out the names of individuals or volunteers. We feel it's important that folks go through reputable, bonded, insured agencies.
So they've already done a lot of the background check, and if I were an individual and I was hiring someone, probably would be reticent to pay what it costs to do a background check. Even though they don't cost as much, I wouldn't know how to do it even.
Right. Yeah, when you pay for a home care agency to come in, you're paying for those services in the hourly fee that you're paying for that assistance. So, let the agencies do it. They know what to do. They know what to ask and how to screen. And, there's risk involved in everything. You hope that, if you've done your due diligence, you've made a good match for your loved one,
What kind
for
of
yourself.
checks are there? Because Probably the person is fine, everything's going to work out, but everybody wants to be reassured that it's fine.
Yeah, they do, they do background screenings on the individual. I think they do police, check to see if they have any kind of a history with the police, and, and they get references on the individuals, and, it's...
So can a person actually get a reference and call about an employee?
I believe that the agencies do that. I don't know if you can, ask that if you're working through an agency, if you can double check on that. I'm not sure of that. I couldn't answer that.
That's a question for a caseworker.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, those are the types of things that folks really need to think about. But our office is kind of that starting point. We can hit you in the direction, get you going in the direction you need to go.
You mentioned that sometimes someone calls, and that's the trigger. And then they end up finding out a lot more.
Right.
And they find out that there are many other services out there that can help them.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the common things that somebody first calls for?
Well, I think sometimes and we like when folks call to see what's going on in the senior world, what's out there for me to get involved in recreationally or on a wellness component. Because if folks age well, stay engaged in their community, take advantage of the many wellness opportunities and senior club events. We have 7 senior clubs in the town, and they're very active, and there's opportunities to socialize and be engaged with your community. If folks take advantage of these services, they're going to age better. Their cognitive function is going to stay higher. They're going to feel like they're part of the community. So with everyone that we help, we try to make them aware of the socialization and the preventative services that are available, not only through our department, the club, and the senior center, but we try to start there, because as much as we try to help people with benefits and programs that they need, they also need to have some fun and to live well and feel like they're part of the community.
In a way, that's the most important thing. There are things that can literally ruin your health if you don't take your medicine on time. And those are dramatic, and it would be fairly quick, I suppose. But such an underlying and important human need is socialization and contact with the outside.
You're absolutely right. Now, I can't emphasize it enough. I see the seniors who are involved in the center and the senior clubs really age well. They're still volunteering. I was speaking with a man yesterday, 84 years old. He runs a senior club, and he's still a volunteer transportation person. So he's staying engaged in his community, and he's getting up every day and has a purpose, has things to do. And people age well. They are healthier. There's data and statistics to show that. So we really encourage people to utilize these wellness services, because they are the underpinning of everything that we do in the town. As I say, our goal is to keep people in their homes, in the community, and connected, and that is, to me, the key. Many times in the old days, senior service centers and the services coming out of centers were looked at as fluff. And now, agencies and the New York State Office for Aging, who's always been an advocate for people to age well and stay connected, are really seeing the value of community-based services that help people to stay connected with their community, because we save more money long-term on healthcare dollars if we front-load the services and provide the preventative and wellness programs.
So the phrase, "it takes a village," kind of fits here, because while everybody wants to be self-sufficient and we need to be self-starters and all that's really important, it helps so much if we also have the component of, well, so-and-so is building a barn, let's go help. And so-and-so has a spouse that was just deceased, and this guy's been helped with his wife for the last 60 years, and now what is he going to do? Right.
And we try to make sure that a situation like that gentleman knows he doesn't need to, become dormant in his house and stagnant. He can get out and be part of the community, come out and have lunch every day with other seniors, and continue to, thrive. And because many times we see that when one spouse passes away and the other spouse has been the caregiver for a long time, they don't know what to do with themselves. They've really disconnected from the community because their role and their primary function has been to be a caregiver for many, many years, typically.
Now, this gets off the kind of the macro of exactly what the programs are, but how long do you find that it takes somebody to get over a death of a spouse? I mean, that's such a traumatic event, and I could just see it causing some people to spiral out of interest of living.
You know, it's different for everybody. Everybody grieves differently, and there's typically extenuating circumstances. Recently was working with a woman whose husband passed away, and on top of her grief that she needs to work through, her whole financial situation changed completely. A tremendous reduction in her income because she lost a pension, and typically one of the Social Security check is lost. So now she's faced with not being able to afford the housing that her and her husband shared. So now she's faced with not only her grief and you know, trying to work through all of that and still take care of herself, but she's also now has to deal with alternative housing because where she's staying isn't going to be affordable for her anymore. So that complicates the grieving process. I find that if people were connected to a senior club or the senior center prior to the loss of a spouse and have a network around them, they do better.
Right.
You know, they try to get back out. Their friends encourage them to come back to, you know, if you were involved in the pool club or an art class, or if you came out for lunch a few days a week. Being with people is the most important thing for many people as they're grieving. We try to hook folks up with counseling programs, either it be through hospice, or Haven in Schenectady has a wonderful grief counseling program, or we try to provide folks with that short-term counseling or even sometimes longer-term counseling that folks need to, you know, understand that what they're going through is natural and it's normal and it's a process and it's painful, but, you know, it's a process. So everybody's different, really.
I interviewed a couple people who worked with seniors for downsizing issues, and one of the themes that came out was, you're so much better off if you prepare in advance. Just getting rid of things in a house, they said, can take a long time. And so if you wait and you don't do anything until the last minute, it's really hard to make all these decisions, move into another place, decide what to keep, what furniture, your photographs, and all these things. So it seems like what you're saying is, think about your spouse before something happens and try to be involved, keep you both involved in life.
Absolutely, and really you mentioning that brings me to something I wanted to mention about an upcoming housing fair and discussion panel that our office is putting on October 1st at the Crossings. Again, it kind of touches on exactly what you're saying. What we're trying to do through this housing fair is get seniors and their caregivers, their adult children, to start thinking and start planning. What are the realistic expectations for me to age in place in my home, both physically and financially? What is it going to take? What is out there? How can I start planning for that now? And we're going to have a discussion panel at 2 o'clock that's going to talk about this exact issue. And one of the folks on the panel is an individual who does exactly what you were talking about, helping seniors get rid of the clutter, develop a plan, start looking at what's needed to downsize when that time comes. And why so many seniors don't do anything about it is because it's overwhelming. It's exhausting for many seniors that I work with to even think about what's it going to take to get rid of this 4-bedroom colonial that I raised 5 kids in, and the basement is still full with all their high school yearbooks and prom dresses. I mean, that is just overwhelming, and I hear it more often than not, that's what's holding people back. So we're hoping at this housing fair to give folks information on different housing alternatives, which is important, but also we talked about the companion and the in-home services, the umbrella program, which we can touch on, which provides a lot of services to keep people in their homes, and what they need to do to mentally prepare to downsize and to think about, what's in my future as far as my housing needs and what are the realistic expectations that I can maintain this home. I think it's a gift that you give yourself and you give to your children when you start to think about, the planning that's involved to age well.
Right, you would think everybody has a certain amount of assets, and that would be something that they could talk about and maybe have a counselor go over with them. But the amount of time that somebody would stay in a too expensive situation could eat up a lot of the resources that they might be able to then use in a more rational manner over a much longer period of time. So you could live in one house for 15 years and then be totally broke, or you could downsize immediately and plan, okay, I could live to 94, which is, I think, a kind of a key age these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do it okay if I start now.
Absolutely, and and I would never advocate for people to give up their home. My goal is to see people stay in their home. But one of the things that we do in our department, and what will be evident at this housing fair, is, are you getting all the exemptions that you're entitled to through the assessor's office? Are you utilizing all the benefits that will stretch your monthly income so that you can stay in your home? And is it really physically realistic for you to stay in your home? That colonial or that split level home that was fine when you were 50 and it was filled with children was fine then. Is that really the best move for you now?
And for the cleaning, the amount of cleaning you would have to do.
Yes, and home maintenance. I find for many folks, mowing the lawn, snow removal, all those things become really overwhelming. You need to get contracts, you need contractors to do those things as you get older, and that's cost prohibitive for many people, and it becomes a burden. It really does sometimes. And so I mentioned the umbrella program. The umbrella program is a terrific program in the town of Colonie that can help folks to utilize handyman services or snow plowers, lawn care, all those types of things to keep them going and to support them in the community.
Could you, kind of off the top of your head, think of what services that you provide that people are the most surprised that are there?
I think one of the services and the way we provide the services, I think, surprises people, that our caseworkers are so accessible and available to sit down with somebody and really look at what their needs are.
And how much does that cost?
Our services are free.
Right.
We're a town department. Folks have paid taxes all their lives in living in this town, utilize these services, and so many people. I think that's probably the thing that surprises me the most. As much as we try to raise awareness, we do newsletters. I go out and I speak to the senior clubs. We do this monthly show. There's all kinds of information out there, but until you need the services, oftentimes you don't know that they exist. And I didn't, when I was raising my children.
And there's a tension, too, because until you think, oh, I may need this, it could be right, there could have been a flyer that was in the newspaper, and you opened it up and just threw it in the trash.
Absolutely. And personally, when I was raising my children and they were starting school, and I needed after-school programs and summer camps, and I looked at what the town provided, and I couldn't believe it. I had lived in this town so long and I didn't know these services existed. It's the same thing with aging services. Until you need them, you don't know what exists. So I think that's probably what surprises me the most, is that people are so unaware of what's provided through the senior center and through our department. And then for us to really sit down and walk people through the application process or the information and assistance process for me, is the most rewarding part of what we do.
Any new programs planned?
Well, as I mentioned, we have the housing fair that's coming up October 1st at the Crossings.
I wanted to ask you, how do they sign up for that, or how do they go to that?
They don't have to sign up. It's open to the public. It's not just open to seniors. Many times when we do these fairs, we get a lot of professionals that come because it's a one-stop shopping for information.
So they can learn how to help someone else.
Yeah, or they can meet people. Many times as professionals, we talk to folks on the phone, but we never can put a face with a name.
Right.
So it's nice to come and meet folks. But, it's also available to any town resident, seniors, their caregivers, young families who maybe have, what I hear oftentimes from younger residents in the town is, my mother lives in Syracuse. Are these services available out in Syracuse? And I'll give her the Office for Aging's number in the town or the county that the parent may live in. I'll look it up in Syracuse so that they know where to start. So,
a lot of people don't understand the structure of a local government, and so your perspective there is really helpful.
Right, yes. In the state of New York, every county, there's 61 of them, I think, has an Office for Aging. It's under the Older Americans Act, which is a federal aging act. They're required to have an Office for Aging. So we do many programs through the Office for Aging. We receive some funding from the County Office for Aging. So in every jurisdiction in the state, there is an Office for Aging there to help folks. So if you're a long-distance caregiver, or you're watching this show and your parents are in Syracuse or somewhere, you know, you can look it up very easily by doing a Google search, Syracuse Office for Aging, or County Office for Aging of the county they're in.
Now, you said it was October what?
October 1st from
That's
1
easy
to
to
4.
remember.
It's
1 to
very
4.
easy.
Okay.
That's why I picked that date.
1 to 4.
Right, from 1 to 4. It starts at 1 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, we're going to have this panel discussion. And in the panel discussion, we're going to kind of present a little case study of what a typical
That's neat.
situation that a senior may be facing. And we develop the case study based on, you know, the people that we help in our office. We take a little bit from each situation that we're working with and kind of put together a story that is pretty that most people can identify with on some level. And then we ask our panel, and our panel, the folks on our panel will be myself, someone from Colonie EMS, because they see so much. They're out there in the community, and they see folks that aren't aging so well and have, you know, situations going on and that, you know, a good medical or their perspective is very important. We have someone that will talk about the cluttering issue, the mental decision making that goes into decluttering and making those decisions to move. And then our fourth panelist will be Erin Stakowitz, who had been an employee of our department for many years and moved to Albany County Department of Social Services and heads the long-term care unit. So she's going to talk about the services that are available also and how people can put together a long-term care plan.
Now, there are a lot of different people that are working together to help as we get older, age well, and to solve some of the problems that typically come up for seniors. How do you navigate this? You know, there's the transportation and all the other things. How do you know who to call and
you know, I think,
how does it fit together?
Well, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'll tell you how difficult it is. I have a student intern that started last week from Siena College, and I've been training her. And I keep looking at the dazed look in her eyes because she's overwhelmed by the amount of services out there. I know them because I've been doing it for 20 years. But, you know, we have on our website, there's links to a lot of different, the senior center, the clubs, the different services are out there. I think for most seniors, they want to talk to a human being. They don't want to go to a website. They don't want to apply online. When you call our office, you'll talk to an individual who will take the time with you. Each call that folks make for information and assistance to our office is about a 20-minute phone call.
Wow.
That's what it takes. It's not always done in one phone call. There's follow-up that requires, but we will help folks and we will provide them with.
What is the phone number?
459-5051. Is the direct line number for our office.
So if you just call that, say it again.
459-5051.
And we'll put it on the screen too.
Okay, great. Yeah, you can speak with somebody that can get you started. I know.
What do you say when you call? I mean, it sounds like a stupid question, I guess, but I mean, would you just describe the situation, or
yeah, I typically I'll get a call from either a senior themselves, or many times a neighbor will call concerned about a neighbor or a friend. And you know, a typical call that I got this week was from a woman who said, you know, I lost my job and my unemployment benefits aren't cutting it. Is there help out there to help me?
How old was the person?
This person was just 60, still working, and you know, and our services
so barely a senior citizen.
Barely a senior citizen, and to me that person needs immediate attention because they're going to live a good many years, and if we can help them get the services and the assistance and the benefits and the programs up front and get them linked with services, then they're going to age much better. They're going to have money. You know, she's coming in today to apply for a host of services. Every month, and today's that day, on the second Friday of each month, we have a benefit assistance day where folks can come in and apply for any type of benefit, whether it be the home energy assistance program in the heating season, help with prescription drugs, health insurance.
Because these things change so fast, these
they
programs.
Change, and
really
and once you
up.
get on the program, you have to recertify every year.
Okay.
There's help for folks to apply apply to get assistance paying for their Part B premiums, which is about $100 a month. So if we can link you with a program that will pay your Part B premiums, that's $100 a month that you have for prescription drugs or food or your tax bill or whatever. And like we've said so many times in this session, there's so much out there that we could do this show for 2 hours and we wouldn't cover it all. So that's why I say pick up the phone and give us a call. Come in and meet with one of our social workers. Come to our Benefit Assistance Day. We ask that people make appointments. We have legal assistance that folks can come in and meet with an attorney once a month. All these things are available. And I mean, we haven't even really gotten into all the programs that are available, but I hope that I've given people enough of an overview so that they know where to begin access of programs.
I think it really helps to know that you could just call and whatever your problem is. And now, how do you know that you're getting everything you need? The caseworkers kind of go through different. You have like almost like a check. You have a checklist.
We have a benefit
right.
checklist. We have this wonderful software that we received last year, and it really allows us to do an assessment. It has everything on there, and it lists all the programs that are out there.
Great
and
place
we
to start.
just go through and check off. You know, are you eligible for this? You don't need it. You're not eligible. Refer to this program. Applied for this program. It's really casework for dummies a little bit,
right.
because it walks us right through everything that's available and let us help you access it. I think people will be surprised when they meet with us at how much that they don't know, and that's great because that's where we like to start. We're the place to start for programs and services and to help people age well, and that's the important message that I hope to communicate today.
I think you did.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. So I don't know who says goodbye on this show because it's really your show, but since I was the host today, I guess I get to say goodbye.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed the show, that you tune in again next time, and that you have a great week. Take care.